Okay. Those of you that are standing at the back and can't see it, once we've unveiled it, we will move out of the way and then you'll have an opportunity to look. As soon as we have unveiled the plaque, we're going out of this door here and we're going to cross the garden to where we're going to have a cup of tea, which you'll all be ready for. Okay, thank you very much. Right, so the cord is on this side. So do you want to do it together? Yeah, there's a...
Right, yes, we just...
Do it jointly.
Right.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
4. Right. So the inscription says the residential school for Jewish deaf children, 1865 to 1965, stood on this site from 1899 to 1965. Okay. Right, I'll move out of the way, and then we're going to go back to that way. We've done it. Okay, we're going this way. Yeah, I'm trying. Would you like to
No, look.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Can I extend to you all a very, very warm welcome to Nightingale House. It's wonderful to see you all here this afternoon. When I approached Sue Sippin at the Jewish Deaf Association, I was very, very pleased that she immediately agreed to my suggestion of unveiling a commemorative plaque here at Nightingale House. But little did I know how many of you were going to respond so positively. And I was absolutely thrilled when I heard that there were going to be 70 of you here this afternoon. And it's just fantastic to see you all here. I'd like to extend a very particular welcome to Councillor Adrian Knowles, the Mayor of Wandsworth. Delighted to see the Mayor here again. We are very fortunate here at Nightingale House to be living in the wonderful borough of Wandsworth. And as you all know, the Mayor has very close associations himself with the deaf community, so we're delighted to see you here. We're also delighted to see you, Norma, as the, I think probably the remaining teacher from the school. It's wonderful to see you. Not the only one, okay. But it's still great that you're here. And also, I'd like to say a warm welcome to Shani, who is the headmistress of Oadlog School, which is now next door to us. Many of you will have much more knowledge about the Jewish Residential Deaf School than I have. When I came to work here some 40 years ago, in 1973, all that remained of the Jewish Deaf School, which had closed in 1965, was a big pile of rubble and a bit of the front wall, and that was it. In the early 1970s, Nightingale House purchased a part of the land that the Jewish school had been built on. It was purchased by a friend of our charity for £67,000. And from 1973 to 1976, we built an enormous new extension which doubled the size of our home. We were building at a very difficult time. It was a time of the 3-day week, of steel shortages, of power cuts, a very, very difficult time. But eventually the building was completed and was opened by His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales in 1976. In recent weeks I've had the opportunity of finding out a little bit more about the school, mainly I must say from the book, which you will all be familiar with, I'm sure. And the other book where I found just a tiny little bit of information was this book, which is a history of our own charity. And I'll just tell you a little bit about the history of our charity. The Home for Aged Jews, as it was originally known, traces its origins back to 1840 in the East End of London. There were two charitable organisations. One of them was called the Widows' Home Asylum for ladies, and the other was called the Hand in Hand Asylum for gentlemen. In 1870, these two charities merged in Wells Street in Hackney to form a charity called the Home for Aged Jews. During the 1890s, there were large waves of immigrants coming in from Central and Eastern Europe, and the charity was getting very, very crowded and needed more space. And they were looking around for a new and larger property when a man came on the scene whose name was Lord Wandsworth. Lord Wandsworth was Jewish. His name was Viscount de Stern. He came originally from Antwerp. He was a member of Parliament for a constituency in Suffolk, and he was subsequently elevated to the Lords. And Lord Wandsworth was a most wonderful philanthropist. Now this is where the history gets a little bit interesting, because the Home for Aged Jews moved here around about 1904. And lo and behold, when it got here, it found that there was already another Jewish institution next door, which was what was then called the Jews Deaf and Dumb School. And the Jews Deaf and Dumb School, the president of that organisation at the time, was the brother of Lord Wandsworth. So it was not a coincidence that we had two Jewish institutions right next door to them. It was due to the generosity of this family. And also what's quite interesting is that if you can imagine standing in the street outside in Nightingale Lane, looking at Nightingale House, to the left was the Jews Deaf and Dumb School, and to the right, a little bit further back, was another Jewish institution which was called the Jewish Home for Rest, which was a Jewish hospital for people with terminal illnesses. So here we were in an area that didn't have a very large Jewish community, and there were 3 Jewish institutions. So, now, during my research, I discovered something very, very interesting, which I certainly didn't know, and I'd be interested to know if any of you know about it. I understand that in 1940, the children were actually evacuated from the Jewish school into the country. And what I've discovered is that during that period, when the children were not in the school, that the building was actually taken over by the Home Office, who at that time were running MI5. And apparently MI5 used a part of the site as an interrogation centre. Now, somebody from, I was just mentioning to the mayor earlier on, that somebody that works for the council has done a lot of research into this and is going to be giving a talk here in Nightingale House later in the year, when I hope to learn more. So that's history. So now I'd like to say just a little bit about Am I going too fast?
Just saying they can't see. No, it's... Oh, I see.
What is it? Is it the lighting?
Oh, they're saying if you could hold the microphone a little bit further away from your mouth or down, then they can try and lip read you.
Is that okay? Okay, I got it. So, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about Nightingale House as it is today. We are a charity which provides care for older members of the Jewish community. Do I need this? I probably don't need it at all, do I?
Sorry, I'm just...
Do I need it?
Yeah.
So we are a charity that provides care for older members of the Jewish community.
Sorry, some people are using hearing aids to say no, you do need to carry on.
And we currently care for almost 200 people. The average age of the people living here is almost 90. And today we have 15 people living here who are aged over 100. So I like to think it's a way we look after them. So we have people living here from all parts of the Jewish community, Orthodox people, not so Orthodox people, people that are not interested in religion at all sorts. And we also have people from all parts of London and from all sorts of different professions as well. So we are able to care for people here for the rest of their lives, regardless of how much their health might deteriorate. So I think that's probably enough of me talking. I would like to, again, thank you, Sue, wherever you are, thank you, Sue, for so readily agreeing to this. I'd like to thank you all for schlepping across London to be here. And I do very much hope that you will enjoy the rest of the afternoon. Thank you.
Hey, is everyone okay? Can you all see me? Hello. It's really wonderful to be here. I was one of the last pupils at the Jewish Deaf School in 1965, and I've never been back since till today, 48 years later. So I think it is a fantastic and a really special day. So many thanks to Leon to have the idea about the plaque and to welcome us all in this way. I feel so welcomed. And I'm really not surprised that you're saying that over 15 people reach 100, are over 100 here. I think this must be one of the best homes I've ever seen for elderly people. I'm not surprised that you have so many people over 100. Anyway, there are some people who will tell some stories, some memories of the school. And so I would like to start with Norma. And she was the teacher here at the deaf school herself, so she's going to tell you about her memory of her days here. So Norma, please come.
Yes, I think so. Right. I just wanted to say a few words in my time at the Jewish school. I belong to my local WI, which last year decided, a small group of us, decided to write our memoirs. And one thing I wrote about was my time at the school. I had started off my teaching with junior age children and then moved to nursery age, and this was the first time I had senior girls. More could be attempted with older children. I still have a friend, Elizabeth, who joined the school at the beginning of the summer term, I think it was, yes. And she was told she was going to accompany me and a group of girls on a youth hosteling trip to Belgium. So quite something to jump straight into that. Most of the time, we didn't have many upsets. Somebody managed to leave her suitcase in the middle of a town, and we had to run back and rescue it. They must have been very honest people, because it was still there when we got back. But it was when we went to France that our problems started. First of all, we got to France, we got on the train, and a man came along and wanted to see our tickets. And he said to me, this girl needs a visa. Well, nobody had needed a visa the year before, so it was something I had never thought of. And I had visions of having to get off the train and go straight back to England with all the girls. However, he was very kind and said, "It doesn't matter, you go." And I thought, what will happen when we come back? Well, when we did come back, the man was a much more senior person, and he looked at the passport and said, "This girl should have had a visa." And I said, "Oh, well, how did she get into the country without one?" Pretending I knew nothing about it. So he looked at me, he said, "That's what I want to know." However, he let us go and we came home. But that wasn't the worst thing that happened. We went to Paris and we were on the underground at Concorde, which I believe is the largest underground station in Paris. Suddenly, I realised that some of the girls were missing. So I went back to see if I could find them. Nobody there. So then I was running down all the tunnels I could find to see where they were, because I thought, if somebody stops them, how are they going to explain what they're doing? Anyway, eventually I gave up and went back, and there they were. They had joined the main group again. I was very relieved, but it didn't stop me giving them a good telling off when they got back. So, right. I was reminded last year by one of the party, Albina, I think it was, about the incident. She hadn't forgotten it. And we very much enjoyed, this was at the Holocaust reunion, which Elizabeth and I both enjoyed. Although it was difficult trying to recognise teenagers after 40-odd years. Rather a long time. They'd changed a great deal. But somehow or other they managed to recognise us. So we hadn't changed very much. It was with great regret that I had to leave the RSJDC, because of all the schools I had been to, that was the happiest one. I really enjoyed being there, and it was sad that I had to leave it. Right.
Hello. Thank you very much, Norma. Hello. Right, thank you, Norma, for telling you of your memories of the school. I hope that you remember her as a lovely teacher. Is that right? Was she a lovely teacher? Anyway, thank you, Norma, for that. So, our next presenter is a pupil of the Jewish Deaf School. So, welcome, Miriam. I was always very thankful that there was a school for Jewish deaf children, the only one in the country. It was a really good school, with full Jewish values, perfect teachers, and cooks, and plenty of domestic staff. The school itself was warm, and had good food, and its own laundry. And I learned basic Hebrew from non-Jewish teachers, and we would have Hebrew 3 times a week, and we'd have a short service, a very short service on Sabbath. And the gardens were very long and very big and were beautiful. And it was looked after by the gardener, who you would always find in the garden, in the greenhouse, who was always proud of his very large marrows. And so the senior boys would have wine and biscuits there, and I really missed the school. I was very, very happy there. Before I close, I'm very glad that it is still a Jewish community that's based here. It's a new building, but it's still a Jewish place. Thank you. It's lovely. A lovely memory to share with us. So you started school in the 1930s. Okay, well the next person started school in the 1940s. And it's Harold Fullman. Welcome. Hello everyone. My dear old pupils, friends, and family. We're really glad to have this plaque, which has been put in the right place for us, where there used to be the RSJDC, the big building that is there no more. I was 4 in 1940, but there was a delay because World War II had started in 1939 and delayed me starting school. And I joined the school in the company of my deaf sister, who was 11 or 12 at the time. We were moved to Wiltshire. It was Havering House, a small village, Milton, near Pewsey. And then we moved back to 101 Nightingale Lane. So I was in Havering House for 6 years, and I moved back when I was 10. And I left the RSJDC when I was 16, in 1952. Altogether, I was here for 12 years, 6 years here and 6 years in the other house. And in 1965 it closed down and the building was pulled down to let Oak Lodge build their school there. The school closed down because there were only 10 children left. And so they transferred to Talbot Road in Tottenham. After that, I don't know what happened to those 10 children. They seem to have just vanished. I would love to see another plaque put up in Havering House, because we shouldn't forget and be thankful that during the war we had peace there. So, thank you very much. Better now? Okay, thank you, Harold, for your memories and your story. So, in 1965, only 10 children left. Well, I was one of them. There used to be 100 children here, but it gradually declined until there were just 10 left, and of course the school closed down. It's sad, but at that point it had to. Anyway, the next person we have to talk to share her memory of her first days here, from when she was evacuated from Germany. She was one of 10 children who was evacuated to the school. So she wants to share her memory, and it's Anne Central. Hello everybody. It's lovely to see you all here. Well, I've only been here, I was only here in the Jewish Deaf School for 5 weeks. It started July the 12th, 1939, when 10 deaf children came from the Berlin School in Germany to England. We came over by boat, arrived at Liverpool with the headmaster. And then you were saying that MI5 was there. Well, in fact, one of the teachers who came over from the school with me was arrested when they came over because he was German. Anyway, so we came here, and what happened to the 10 children? Well, we were put straight in the shower, straight in the bath, and straight to bed. And I don't remember the time, but I think it was about mid-afternoon. We had no tea, no milk. Sorry, we just had milk, that was all. And we saw a lot of children outside. And we looked out of the window when we were in bed, and it was absolutely heaving with people in the gardens, because it was the garden fete that day. I've never forgotten looking out at all these people. And all of us had to stay in bed. It would have been lovely to meet people. Anyway, the next morning, we went down to breakfast and everyone was signing. And it was a different language to the one that we used. So it's a really nice memory. Hello. Thank you, Anne. She felt it was important to share that memory of her first days here after being evacuated. Do you remember she said she was only here for 5 weeks? But of course it was because she arrived and 5 weeks later the war started and they had to leave. And so the Jewish Deaf School went outside of London. And so that's why she was actually only in this building for 5 weeks. That's right, someone was saying that they were evacuated to Brighton. So thanks for sharing that memory. Okay, we haven't got any more memories. Oh, sorry, no, we have. We've got one more, Colleen. So can I welcome Colleen, who just wants to say something? It's Colleen Daniel. Okay, hello, ladies and gentlemen. As most of you know, my name is Colleen Daniels, knee Coblentz. That was my name before I married. And I'm an ex-pupil of the RSJDC, and I was here from the age of 12 to 16 and a half, so 4.5 years. I went to an oral school before I came here. Just wanted to tell you a very short story about my school days. Norma Libihan, nee Samson, have I spelled that right? S-A-N-S-O-N? Yes. Was my ex-school teacher. I remember being in her school class and I was trying to finish off a cardigan, knitting a cardigan. And so I'd lifted the desk up and I was frantically knitting this cardigan underwards because I was late to make it for my mother. And I was trying to finish it off before Parents' Open Day. However, Norma caught me because I wasn't listening to her. And I'd been naughty. So I was told off for not paying attention and for trying to finish the cardigan instead. Anyway, so that's my very short story. So I'm speaking on behalf of all the ex-pupils and also members of the JDA, family and friends. We would all like to say thank you, a big thank you for coming here to unveil the plaque. And I'd now like to present you with a gift. Where is it? Here's a gift. For you to remember from all of us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
you everybody for sharing just a few of your memories. As you know, I'm Sue Sippin from the Jewish Deaf Association, and in all the years that I've been working at the JDA, I've heard so many stories of the Jewish Deaf School, and it's absolutely incredible to be on the site where you spent your childhoods, and to, you know, we've heard the stories of you as young as 2 years old and looking after each other and living together and just this unique and special life. And to be here in the place and to see all of you together in this place is just an incredible and very memorable occasion for me, and I hope that it will be for you as well. And I want to say a big thank you to Leon and to Nightingale for making this day happen and for giving us this special plaque to commemorate the Jewish Deaf Residential School. Thank you all for coming here today and for making it special.
Thank you very much. And last but not least, I would now like to call upon Councillor Adrian Knowles, Mayor of Wandsworth, to address us. Thank you.
The first thing I wanted to say
to everybody who doesn't live in Wandsworth.
To everyone who doesn't live in Wandsworth, welcome. Welcome to Wandsworth.
I am so proud to have become.
I'm so proud to have become the Mayor of Wandsworth, and I'm happy to welcome you.
Many of you remember me.
Many of you remember me.
Because I remember you.
Because I remember you.
I used to play tennis.
I used to play tennis.
With the Spurs Club.
With the Spurs Club.
Up until 1987.
Up until 1987.
Because of my work.
Because of my work, I had to stop it. After I lost my mother and father, I met Chris, my partner, who's sitting over there. Give him a wave.
We moved to Wandsworth.
And we moved to Wandsworth 8 years ago.
And the council did me a great
And the council did me a great honour by asking me to become the mayor. I think this is my 5th visit to this building, to this home. And I would really like to thank Leon for everything that he's done to make my visits here more pleasurable. And I look forward to future cooperation. I was so pleased that he asked me to come today to unveil the plaque, to remember the RSJDC. It's important that we remember what happened in the past. The school has closed, but I'm so pleased that there is a new school that's built on the same foundations, on the same spot. Oak Lodge. And I'm very, very pleased that the headmistress, who's not paying me attention at the moment,
She's interpreting.
do you remember the first rule of behaviour in class? When I became the mayor, I was told that I had to choose a charity to support for my for my year in office. And it was easy. I chose Oak Lodge. So I'm really pleased that Shani, the head teacher, is here. And hopefully I will raise, and will have raised lots of money for her. Anyway, tea's finished. don't know, do we get another cuppa?
It's up for negotiation.
Enjoy yourselves. I'm really pleased to have shared this day with you, so thank you very
With all admissions to Nightingale. So we're about to show you our new wall wing, which has been open for just over 18 months, and it is for our residents who have dementia, what we call in mid-stage dementia. So their dementia is quite advanced, but they are still very mobile. It's not a nursing unit. It has been desire savings and often sell their homes to fund their care. If they don't own their own homes or they don't have a significant amount of savings, they will go to their local authorities for funding. But that is becoming harder and harder to get. The criteria are becoming stricter and stricter. And some people really do want to come to care, but
So do you understand? That was Oak Lodge. That's the Oak Lodge. The garden. See there? Oak Lodge. Come. the bat. I like to be world veterans. This is one thing. Let's join the old lost soul. They be jump. You're there. Oh, let's join. Join hard too. To be jack out now and clean. But
I'm confused. Where do you go?
Yeah.
Hello, this is my bird and this is Hobart. No. One hungry will disappear to be 105, 103, 101. I'm following.
She's really. Can you ring the cynical?
Not bad.
No.
That's why.